Good evening. Welcome to the Personnel Committee meeting. Tonight is September 5th, 2024. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Legislative Council, will you lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Legislator Castellano. Legislator Nasarino.
Present.
Chairman Yankee.
Present. Item number 3, I make a motion to accept the Personnel Committee meeting minutes of August 13th, 2024. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 4 is the approval of a budgetary amendment. It's a request for an upgrade of current forensic interviewer / outreach worker to a coordinator of the Child Advocacy Center. We have
Deputy
representative.
Commissioner
Wonderful.
and our fiscal manager.
Good evening.
Good evening. Welcome.
Hi. This is my first time presenting, so bear with me.
We'll take it easy.
Nicole McGuire, Deputy Commissioner. I spent 26 years in Child Protective Services, so this is familiar to me and something that I've worked closely with at the Child Advocacy Center. Forensic interviewer is responsible for coordinating the forensic interviews of children at the Child Advocacy Center. In that role, she had coordinated all the interviews with the MDT and had taken on a lot of responsibilities. So since she left that position, we have asked to increase the forensic interviewer to a coordinator position. She also does community outreach. They handle a care program. And we'll be backing up our coordinator, Marla Baylor, who will be hopefully put to a director position. The increasing caseloads for CPS, which obviously bring more of a need for someone to coordinate these interviews. They can conduct up to 5 interviews of children a day. And that's coordinating with law enforcement, the district attorney's office, Child Protective Services, and all the MDT members. It is 100% funded through OCFS and OBS grant, the Office of Victim Services grant. And in the future for succession planning, once the director would retire, this coordinator could potentially move up to that position.
You talk about the increasing caseloads. Is that, first of all, percentage-wise or quantity-wise? How do we measure that the caseloads are increasing, and is there a reason why they're increasing?
For 2024 to date, we've had over 500 CPS reports. Percentage-wise, probably 40% go to the Child Advocacy Center, and that's for the sexual abuse cases, the severe domestic violence, the severe physical abuse. I think people are just more aware, and mandated reporters, they're more reporting, more awareness, more outreach. And the CAC also provides victim advocacy, counseling, mental health is on site. So there's a lot of referrals that come out of being at the CAC.
Is there a reason why we're seeing more and more cases?
I'm not 100% sure. I just think, like I said, I think the advocacy, the outreach into the schools, people, more awareness.
Awareness, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions?
No, I think this is very important to do, and if you list also there's prevention programs and managing the chain of communication. So I know there's a lot of moving parts and players that are involved in the success of all this, and having prevention programs and raising awareness is also an important component.
Part of the program is what I had mentioned, the Handle with Care, where schools are informed if there is a response to a residence of EMS or law enforcement, and it just kind of gives them that support and outreach if that child were to need that. So that's important in the school districts.
Any other members of the legislature? Questions or comments? Anybody from the public? Any questions, comments? Well, then I'll make a motion to approve This request for an upgrade. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
That was not recommended.
I told you we'd take it easy. Item number 5 is the approval of a budgetary amendment. It's increase of temporary budget line for the Youth Bureau. I see Janine Cunningham is here.
Hi, Jane.
Welcome.
So we have, we'll be adding a new child to our Youth Bureau family. November, one of my staff is expecting, so we're excited for her, for baby number 2 for her. So we're looking to take some of her salary and just transfer it into a temporary line so that we can keep programming consistent and not have to, stop any programs. So we're just asking, it's, no fiscal impact, we're just asking just to transfer some money from her salary line to a part-time temp line.
I'm certainly in favor of it. The only thing I would ask is in the future, not to put the employees' names on your memos.
Got it, yep, okay.
Any questions or comments?
No, pretty straightforward.
Any members of the legislature?
Congratulations. It's not me. Mine are too
Anybody
old.
from the public? I'll make a motion to approve the budgetary amendment. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Janine.
Thank you.
Item number 6 is the approval of a fund transfer. It's a reclassification request. We have a lieutenant who wishes to be reclassified to a deputy sheriff position. Welcome, Sheriff and Under Sheriff.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We make this request because at present, as the lieutenant's position is constituted, it is extremely unattractive to any member of the sheriff's office that would be interested in being promoted to lieutenant. It's a managerial position. The rate of pay is such that a sergeant or a first sergeant could potentially make more by working overtime. There's no compensatory time attached to this position. There's no union representation, and it puts a lieutenant somewhat on an island of his or her own. Traditionally in law enforcement, lieutenant's positions have always been union-oriented, and the next promotion to captain would put the individual in management position. So we have a list with 8 names on it. It's an expired list. Well, actually, it's an expired list with 3 names on it. We went to the individuals on that expired lieutenant's list, and we said, look, if we gave another exam, would you be interested? We also queried for other sergeants that would potentially be eligible to take the civil service exam, and in short, their answer was no. The position was unattractive as it is designed presently. That being said, we talked to personnel, we worked with personnel and finance, and that's why we're asking for the reclassification to first sergeant. That allows us to give the patrol commander an administrative sergeant's position to handle the second in command for his division. And first sergeant is a much more viable position. It's much more attractive. There are union benefits associated with that, and there's the ability to make either comp or overtime accruals for that particular member. At present, there are 2 lists. There are 3 names on one, and I believe it's 5 or 6 on the next. There are some overlaps in terms of the names, so we really end up, I believe, with 6 members that we can interview and move forward for this position. That gives us time, with many of the things that we have ongoing, to review that lieutenant's position and where appropriate and applicable, make a request for that in the 25 budget if we so feel that it's necessary. And we probably will, based on a number of factors.
Do you have any time to get that down the hallway for the 25 budget?
No, we talked to finance, we've talked to personnel. That's why we're doing the reclassification. We don't want that A position to remain vacant for a significant period of time, and we can move quickly on this once.
But that only solves half the problem.
That only solves half the problem. This gives us an opportunity to establish these two positions, First Sergeant Admin, First Sergeant Patrol, have them assume the duties and responsibilities as we've articulated in the job description of personnel, get things up and running, and then we'll make a determination on the request for lieutenant.
Have we ever had more than one lieutenant at a time? Because I remember years ago there was a push to create a lieutenant's union. And I think there was only one employee that it would have applied to.
Only in the correctional facility, there's 2 lieutenants.
Okay.
Patrol, there was none.
Okay. You have any thoughts on how to make that position more attractive?
Pay.
Yes. To be very honest with you, Chuck,
Other, I should have started with other than.
well, health benefits are a concern. Healthcare health insurance is a huge issue.
Right.
In our contractual conversations with both corrections and the PBA. Salary is a factor, as is the ability to make some overtime. Lieutenant's a difficult position because when you only have one, he or she is tasked with a lot of duties and responsibilities. By converting the original position into First Sergeant, we'll reduce that a little bit, and going forward, we look to potentially make a new lieutenant's position if we're able to revitalize it, a patrol commander on a shift, possibly working different off hours, and to be the overall commander for the department when we're not there at 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night.
Yes.
I hope that this comes to fruition and the salary is raised. I mean, we speak about this across the board. The DA speaks about it and the competitive salaries. And for years, we have been talking about, going back to Sheriff Smith when I first became a legislator, the challenge of these non-union positions when you are grooming and breeding and have your staff, your deputies with you who looked for that line of succession, but it is not economically advantageous for them to move into these upper management or upper classes, I should say, because they lose those union benefits and they lose that overtime and they lose that comp time. And I don't know if it's just isolated with the lieutenant position, but we'd like to keep who we have. There are homegrown deputies and move them into positions in that success line rather than skipping and going somewhere else, and to retain them. And that has been a challenge. So I hope, that raising the salary and making it more attractive and would be the answer to keep that position, because you need that position, and also to have our own move into those spots.
I agree, and I mean that's the issue. Historically and traditionally in law enforcement, there's always a percentage difference in the grades. If we were able tonight to fix the lieutenant's salary structure, it then creates a problem for the captains and the difference between the underchef. So there's 7 different layers involved here, which we couldn't get completed in time with the budget process.
Well, there's always budget meetings.
Yes.
I just want to make sure I understand it correctly. So you currently have a lieutenant who's willing to take a demotion down. Has. So that would mean the lieutenant position would remain vacant? Or
The lieutenant, we would transfer that into a first sergeant's
so
position.
you can switch the lieutenant position to a first sergeant?
Reclassification.
And then we would eliminate, at least temporarily, the
The
lieutenant
lieutenant's
position?
position, yes. Because we're unable to fill it with any sense of quickness because of the fact there is no outstanding civil service list. And it would take a significant period of time to get a list, to have people apply, and then to submit to a test.
Okay.
Any members of the legislature? Legislator Elmer?
Through the chair, Sheriff and Madam Sheriff, in addition to the pay, is the lieutenant position's medical contribution higher than that of the deputies?
Yes.
Thank you.
Legislator Montgomery?
Thank you. I think I came in the middle when you were talking about this, but the reclassification to first sergeant, though it shows no fiscal impact, $50,407. But I think you were talking about the benefits that the first sergeant would get, which would be overtime. The first sergeant would be eligible for overtime,
Yes.
so that it would be more than $50,407.
Depending upon how much overtime he or she works.
And the educational benefits are not included in the 50,000.
They remain the same,
They remain the same as,
the county's.
Standard.
but the lieutenant's not eligible for those educational benefits.
Not as presently constituted, correct.
Are there any other costs of education, overtime? Because, so it's gonna be an extra cost. It's gonna be more than the lieutenant, is what I'm saying.
The base pay,
The base pay is 50, is gonna be a $50,407 increase.
no,
Or-
no, the 50,000 there is what's remaining left in the lieutenant's budget line for the rest of the year.
The member has already reduced
Right.
himself to the rank of deputy sheriff. So budgetarily in salary, there's 50,000, which will cover any issues relating to salary.
Any issues relating to salary, but then there's the issues related to cost, because the lieutenant doesn't get the education, doesn't get the overtime. What else are we missing that the?
Longevity.
Longevity.
Right.
What else are we missing that the lieutenant didn't get, that the first
That's
sergeant?
about it.
That will incur cost. It will be more than this.
Well, you weigh that, those are minimal expenses in view of the fact that no one will take a lieutenant's position as presently constituted. There is absolutely no one interested in that position.
Well, I remember this discussion a while ago where I think you were joking about, why don't we make everybody a lieutenant? That was the joke a few years ago, that conversation
First of
we
all, I
had.
don't joke about personnel.
What's that?
I don't joke about personnel.
Well, we could go to the record, but I clearly
You can
remember
check
a
it.
meeting where, maybe it was Neil, but there was a joke amongst the legislators in a meeting about talking about this very issue, and the reasoning was, well, why don't we just make everybody lieutenant, because we don't have to incur these costs that we're gonna incur now with this change.
I don't recall ever hearing that comment.
Well, you
during my
weren't
tenure.
the sheriff then. So it was,
Well, I don't know if that's
I think you've identified an issue that needs to be resolved. The first step is you have a lieutenant who's decided to step back to become a deputy again, right? He
Correct.
came up as a deputy.
Right.
And there's obviously an issue if someone doesn't want a promotion, someone doesn't want to upgrade their place in your department,
Right.
and we're going to work to get that resolved.
Right. It's two issues in this matter. An individual who was a lieutenant isn't able to sustain, his or her lifestyle on that salary versus stepping down into a deputy sheriff and then being afforded the opportunity to accrue the benefits with that
Just
position.
one minute. How long has this person been a lieutenant?
I believe about 4 years,
Okay.
before we came into office.
Okay, thank you.
I just have a comment, and this challenge isn't unique to the Sheriff's Department. We have CSEA workers who are making more than managers, and that may be up for a managerial position and have declined because it is not advantageous for them for the same exact reasons. They'll lose their overtime, they'll lose their longevity, they'll lose their education credits or whatever the case may be, that their whole package is essentially better in a unionized position than it is in a managerial position, and people have been reluctant to step into those positions. So it's just not this one isolated case.
That's correct.
Anyone else? I'll make a motion to approve the fund transfer. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 7, we have an approval for a fund transfer. It's to fill a position for receptionist at Putnam Valley Friendship Center. It's equivalent to positions existing at 3 other Office for Senior Resource sites. I don't see Mr. Cunningham here. I don't see anybody here to speak to this. I would like to, in his absence, I'd like to move this forward to audit, so that if we have any questions, because he's not here, if we have any questions, we can get them answered before audit. But this is showing a decrease of $5,600, so I don't want to delay on that. Anybody have any questions or concerns that need to be passed to Mr. Cunningham? All right, so we'll send a memo to Mike that it's going to audit. So I'll make a motion to move it to audit.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item number 8 is an FYI, it's your accident report, please review it. Item number 9 is the incident report, please review it. If no one has any other business, I'll make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.